Cristiano Ronaldo made his Champions League debut for Manchester United away to Young Boys and scored, but then Aaron Wan-Bissaka got sent off. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made a bunch of weird substitutions, and it all fell apart. Is that a fair summary, Jules?
And we could have had Jesse Lingard, not sure what he was trying to do, what he was doing in that area of the pitch.
Apparently he said afterwards, mistakes happen. I'm like, yeah, Jesse, they do.
Yeah. So, I think it's a fair summary. I don't know. Solskjaer didn't want to take any responsibility for the defeat. I thought, as you said, not sure about the substitution, especially taking off Bruno and Cristiano when he did. But
Look,
it's one of those...
Listen, I don't... You can't blame Solskjaer for Lingard's errant back pass, okay?
No. But should he have been on the pitch in the first place?
I'm not even going to blame him for that. I'm just going to point out that after you make the change, you go to the back three, Manchester United didn't take a single shot. Manchester had 2 shots on goal the entire game. I think both were in the first 25 minutes.
Yeah,
and both were Cristiano. One of them was a goal, right?
Yeah.
You don't shoot on goal after that.
No.
You move to a back 5, and in the course of the 90 minutes plus injury time, Young Boys, I'll repeat, Young Boys, not Bayern Munich, not Paris Saint-Germain, not City, Young Boys, took 20 shots on goal, and United took 2 shots on goal. I know you have 10 men.
Yeah.
I think you have to take a little bit of responsibility for that, even if it had ended up in a draw. Even if you'd won because they'd given that penalty on Cristiano, which I personally didn't think was a penalty.
No.
I'm sorry, people say we're hard on Solskjaer. I think he's a good person, and I think he's not a bad manager, but sometimes he gets things wrong. And I think this was one game where he got things wrong.
The expected goals for United after the red card in the 35th minute is 0. Yeah. Between the 35th minute and the 95th minute, expected goals is 0.
If you're going to play if you're going to go and play effectively as they did, 5-2-2 or whatever you want to call it, with Bruno behind Cristiano, you don't have any pace. So that means that when you win the ball back, you have to keep possession and try to build up. You can't just lump it into space for Cristiano to run onto, because the man is 36 years old. And yes, he can sprint, but he can't sprint over and over and over and over again, nor can you expect him to just play back to goal and hold the ball up, because he's going to get lumps kicked out of him. He's not that sort of player. Put Cristiano in a position where Cristiano can be successful. Bad game, move on.
A late goal scored by Rodrigo and set up by Eduardo Camavinga give Real Madrid 3 points at San Siro against Inter, though Edin Dzeko thought that his team deserve better than that. Do you agree, Gab? I certainly do.
I do too. I think Dzeko's part of the reason, because he missed a couple chances. Skriniar missing a big chance. Lautaro missing a big chance. I need to be consistent. I don't have a problem with teams that create a lot of chances. That is the purpose of the game, and concede few chances. And I think this is the right way forward for Inter. It's a shame they lost this game. It happens. Shout out to Ancelotti, by the way. He's supposed to be all about old players and veterans. And
that's the future.
It's the 2 kids.
To Camavinga, to Rodrigo. The future.
Yeah. So, big 3 points. A Romelu Lukaku goal gives Chelsea a 1-0 win over Zenit. Jules, were you impressed? I mean, better than Villa, right?
Yeah, slightly. Not too much, because they didn't create much at all. I think they had only 2 shots on target, maybe, one being the goal. And Lukaku had hardly anything.
But Mendy only had to make 1 big save as opposed to...
And then Zubia has a
at the end.
Shocking miss. It should have been 1-1. But what I was impressed with, and it's nothing new, Gab, is that Romelu Lukaku got half a chance. Because I think it's a good cross by Spilicueta, but this is half a chance. And he buried it. And I just think this is why you pay 100 million. This is why you're going to win the Premier League. This is why you're going to have a chance to keep and retain the Champions League. It's because you've got players like him. And he makes such a big difference. Ajax destroys Sporting 5-1 away in Portugal. Sebastian Haller scored 4 goals. And the stat everyone was talking about, Gab, is that he joins Marco van Basten as the only player to have scored a quadruple on his Champions League debut. I'm not sure, though, that you really like that stat.
Okay, so first I want to be nice to Ajax. They played really well. I was really impressed with Anthony. I thought Gravenberch as well, but Anthony in particular. Yeah. Our friend JJ told us that he's going to break out. Maybe he's a little early with that. This could be it. This stat is so stupid.
4 goals.
So stupid.
Who else? No, Van Basten. That's it.
Do you know why it's stupid, other than the fact that you're mentioning Haller in the same breath as Van Basten? That wasn't Van Basten's debut in 1992 when he scored 4 goals. That was when the competition was renamed
in the Champions League.
This is stupid. This is like when we have like, oh, so and so is coming close to Alan Shearer's Premier League goals record.
1992.
There was football before 1992.
Fair enough.
Marco van Basten scored like 20 goals before 1992 in the European Cup. Come on, man. Come on.
There's still 4 goals.
Bayern beat Barcelona 3-0 at the Camp Nou. Jules, I guess the good news is that it didn't finish 8-2.
That's the good news, Gab. And the only good news, Barcelona has 0 shot on target. 0. This is like literally none. There's no shot, nothing. Manuel Neuer didn't have anything to do in the whole game. I think we knew that Bayern were much better than Barcelona. This is not the issue here. The issue is that Barcelona were far worse probably than what we expected them to be in that game.
For me, the issue is so they concede they concede 1 goal, which is a deflection. Then after they concede the second goal at 2-0, our mark, he takes off Busquets and says, I wrote a whole column about this, and he sends on Gavi and Demir, who, unless you're a hardcore Kool-Aid, you wouldn't have never heard of these guys. No. And then later on, he took off, was it Jordi Alba? Yeah. And he sends on Balde, another kid from the youth team. Yeah. I think...
Why?
Okay, I stuck up for Koeman on this occasion.
Why?
Just to troll you. No, I stuck up for him because he said, there's no point. We're 2-0 down. We've lost this game. Let's play the kids. The kids are not going to get booed. The kids are the future. Let me send a message. Let me remind everybody of the nonsense that I have on this bench right now.
He was lucky not to lose 6-0 that game, which just imagine, had they lost 6-0, which they were very close to because Ter Stegen had to make 2 or 3 really good saves.
I don't know about 6. I think they could have lost 4, but whatever. But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to lose 5-0 at home against Bayern Munich.
In those circumstances, once the game is over,
I think you keep your best players, try to get a goal back at least.
Keep your best players, tire them out, still concede the goals, be even more humiliated.
That's not the point.
Lose
the
next
back
weekend.
5 was the wrong call anyway. He made a mess of it again. And it's just not looking good. 2 days after saying, if this club has a future, it's thanks to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, who does Koeman thinks he is? Come on. It's crazy. And by the way, continuing with Koeman, Gab, Catalan media are now reporting that he's got 3 games to stay in the job. I know those 3 games are Cadiz, Granada, I think first, then Cadiz, then Levante. So not the toughest of games because after that there will be Benfica, Atletico and Valencia. But those 3 could be where his future is played out.
Yeah, and this is stupid. These ultimatums are stupid. 3 games to save your job, blah, blah, blah. It's just a dumb approach to take after a defeat to Bayern. Because I don't want to make excuses with the absentees. Obviously, he had I think I actually went through this on the bench. He had Philippe Coutinho, who hasn't played since 2020. Yeah. He had Serginho Dest coming off an injury. He had Ricky Puig, who hasn't played since last season. Right, so those guys might as well not have been there. There's no point in them being there. Obviously, no Braithwaite, no Fati, no
Dembele.
Aguero. No, Dembele, sick no, the French Darren Anderton. You know what? The reality is, this is what he has to work with. On top of that, he's not the greatest coach in the world. But look, who's going to take over? You think things are going to improve if somebody else comes in? You don't judge based on these games.
No.
You judge based on whether he can keep control, he can keep people thinking positive, and if you think he's heading for a top 4 finish. Those are the only things that should matter to Koeman keeping his job.
Yeah.
Manchester City beat Leipzig 6-3 as Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden return. Jules, is Pep Guardiola's glass half full for the 6 goals or half empty for the 3 goals conceded at home?
Can I say both? I think it's a bit of both because they look really good going forwards. I mean, when you can also bring on Foden, Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, Gundogan, it helps. And defensively, especially on that left-hand side with Zinchenko, they look a bit dodgy. So I don't know what would be...
Let me tell you, it's half empty. It's half empty
I don't
for
know.
the way they switched off. They very obviously switched.
But...
I'm not saying I know Pep Guardiola intimately, let alone biblically, but... You can't be happy when that happens, and I think afterwards he's actually going to think about that.
Maybe
not the individual mistake so much, but the switching off. Because you know what, Leipzig, not a good match for them. Leipzig, I don't want to criticize Jesse Marsch.
Although Nkunku scored a hat-trick, by the way.
Props to Nkunku. But you know what? They go and they try to press the life out of City, and City just pass the ball through you. You know that they can do that.
Yeah. You know? 4 players have scored a hat-trick in the Champions League on the losing side.
And Nkunku's one of them.
And the other 3? Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, Bale, and Kavici for Başakşehir. Here you go. This is your quiz question of the day. Oh, and by the way, if you saw the shout out that, or I'm not sure if it's a shout out, but Pep roasting Mahrez in that second half and shouting at him, we were like, oh, wow, okay. Juventus with 3-0 away to Malmö. Gab, some improvement for Max Allegri's team, or Malmö just not very good, or a bit of both?
I love my JDT, who's in charge of Malmö, Jon Thomasson. Very nice man. Once interviewed him, he's wearing a wonderful turtleneck. They're not very good. But it was important for Juve to be professional, to get the job done. The 4-4-2 worked. Dybala scored, Morata scored. Great, move on. That's what they needed. Porto hold Atletico Madrid to a scoreless draw at the Wanda Metropolitano, despite going down to 10 men and having a goal disallowed for an accidental handball. Jules, we always underestimate Porto. When will we learn?
Yeah, you're right. We do. So well organized, structured. They worked so hard. They were really good, I thought, in that game.
They could have won that game.
They could have won that game. They hit the post as well. Yeah, Otavio. And then the goal disallowed is the rules. I know it's a bit harsh.
So unlucky.
Taremi falls and yet his arm touches the ball that was already going in. But this is the rules. And then Mbemba got sent off. I'm more worried about Atletico because with the ball, there wasn't much at all there. Despite all the changes that he made in the second half. It was Antoine Griezmann's first home game for Atleti. He came on in the second half and he got booed by his own fans. Gab, can you understand why and how much work we'll have to do to win them back?
I have a ton of respect for the fans in the stadium. And so, yeah, you have a right to boo. This is a person who walked out on you to join a rival club. It's as simple as that. You are entitled to go and boo him. Yeah. Equally, if he had a horrible time in Barcelona, bask in your schadenfreude and hopefully, but give him a chance to win you back with his performances and so on, because he is an Atletico Madrid legend. Yeah. 4 first-half penalties and a red card early in the second half, and Sevilla are held by Salzburg. But Jules, I have to ask about your boy Youssef and the series dive, which got him sent off.
Ooh, Youssef. You don't want to see that one again, because that was so bad. So bad. I mean, it's not even like there's someone near you, my friend. It's just like such a bad dive. At least if you're trying to do it like Ale Moreno style, be clever. Do it like when maybe you can get something out of it. We're not advocating for diving, of course, but this was so bad.
There was no VAR when Ali Moreno
played. That's why it got
I think that's the big difference.
This one didn't need VAR anyway. This one, we could all see it from all over the world. Anyway, Borussia Dortmund win away to Besiktas 2-1, and Jude Bellingham steals the show. Gab, celebrate the kid, please.
He's absolutely incredible.
Wow.
He played the diamond. Marco Rosa is pretty stubborn.
Yeah, your favorite diamond.
He played the diamond with Julian Brandt in there. I thought, this isn't good. Besiktas can play the ball, they can get overrun. It doesn't matter because having Jude Bellingham there, it's like having 3 players in one.
Incredible.
He's so smart. He's so athletic. He can finish. He can create. He's a real deal. And he even goes and he gave a little kiss to Erling Haaland after the game. It finishes 0-0 between your hipster favorites, Wolfsburg, since you're now convinced that they're a hipster side, and Lille. But Jules, I'm still not sure why Jonathan David's goal was disallowed.
I found an angle where you could see the ball had gone out of play just in front of the bench on the touchline, on the touchline when Angel Gomez played it, and I think you could see that it's all out.
So it was a correct decision.
Correct decision, yeah, that's right. As gutted as I was, as it was the correct decision to not award a penalty right at the end and actually...
That was pretty obvious.
Yeah, but still he gave a penalty first, Makiele. But I thought Lille played really well. The Lille of last season, the Lille that won that Ligue 1 title, not the Lille of this season, and they were really unlucky and they should have won that game. But at least it gave them a bit of momentum and hope because I think if they keep playing like this in the competition, they might have a chance, just a little one, to make it to the last 16 in a quite open group, I would say. So I think it'd be very, very interesting. Villarreal and Atalanta draw 2-2 in Spain, and Gab, the question is, which misunderstood genius of a coach is going to be more disappointed, Emery or Gasperini?
I use the term misunderstood genius because that is what these people are. They're both... Would it be
was a really good game.
They're both very odd people, would you say that?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. In terms of social skills, you mean? Yeah.
In terms of social skills, without question. I think Gasperini's actually going to be more disappointed. I think it was one of those games where, obviously Atalanta didn't start the season great.
Yeah.
They created chances in this thing. They've evolved. They're now playing with Malinowski and Pessina behind a lone striker. I thought they created the bulk of the chances.
Yeah, they did.
Made a mistake for the goal. But equally, this is what Unai Emery does so well. And there's a reason why he's won all those Europa Leagues, is that he can go and he can he's like a sniper. He can go and he takes a lot of abuse and then he picks you off. And that's what he's done well. I think both these sides are more than capable of advancing. I don't think they both will because of the way the group shakes out.
I agree.
I think they're both very dangerous sides to face. All right, I'm going to take a gratuitous swipe at English referees.
Yes.
I just cannot resist. Now, if you're old like me, you might remember Graham Poll showing Croatia's Josip Simunic 3 yellow cards at the 2006 World Cup. Yes, kids, this really did happen. I think they even had HDTV back then.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony Taylor opted for a more minimalist approach in the scoreless draw between Dinamo Kiev and Benfica when he booked Dinamo's Denis Garmash and then immediately sent him off. Thinking, I guess he must have already booked him.
Yeah.
Jules, that's not how it works, yeah?
It's not. Usually, so, Anthony, just in case you were not sure, after 2 yellows, and only 2 yellows, not 1, not 3, you can give and show a red card. Otherwise, you have to wait for the second yellow to come at some point. And Garmash, it was a game I was covering on BT Sport on the Goal Show, and Garmash was like, and obviously Garmash, I would suspect, doesn't speak English because he could not speak to the referee. Clearly, you could see.
He's just going like this.
He was like, and he put his hand over his head and his hair, and he was like, and Anthony Taylor was trying to tell him something, and clearly there was a lack of communication there. They could not understand each other. But I was like, I'm not sure he got a first yellow. This is strange. And then not long after, Anthony Taylor rectified it. But like you said, off air, what's the fourth referee doing?
Yeah, you would think somebody would get in his ear. You always talk about refereeing. Like, no, it's a teamwork. It's like, Ant, you haven't booked this guy yet.
No.
I just want to be very clear on this. It's not stuff like this that makes Anthony Taylor a bad referee or a good referee. For me, he's actually a pretty good referee. When you make mistakes that are just so craven, I can't count against you. You see what I'm saying here? This is just a brain fart. This is what happened to him.
Okay.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think it's ever happened to him before in his career, and it's never going to happen again. I'm not going to judge his quality as a referee. It's fun to make fun of him for it. But you agree with that, right?
Yeah, kind of. I still don't think this should happen. Full stop.
No, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
Sheriff Tiraspol did rather well on their Champions League debut. First ever game in the competition, beating Shakhtar Donetsk 2-0. Gab, does this feel like a fairy tale to you? And can you tell us a bit more about the background of this story?
Yeah, well, obviously, Sheriff are a team they're from Moldova, but in real life, they would say that they're from Transnistria, which is a country that I don't think is recognized by anybody except for Russia and a couple others. Basically, when the Soviet Union broke up, Moldova was a Soviet republic. Most Moldovans I think they're ethnically linked to Romania. But obviously, there was a bunch of ethnic Russians who lived there when it was part of the Soviet Union,
right.
And they mostly lived at the other edge of the country in Transnistria. They were worried about what might happen, so the ones who were there moved there, and then they kind of declared semi-independence or a pretendo independence, and there's border checks and whatever.
Backed by the USSR at the time, and Russia.
Backed by Russia, the people that protected. Without getting into the politics of it, the one thing about Tiraspol, about Sheriff, and there's two ways to look at it. One is, it's great, these teams from Eastern Europe coming and competing. On the other hand, some people would definitely take issue with some of the people who are behind Tiraspol. But, we have 55 member nations in UEFA. This is what we got.
They earned their place. They beat Dinamo Zagreb. They went through all the qualifiers, the
and
playoffs.
They definitely deserve to be here. They played really well against Zagreb. Was it 3-0?
In the first leg, in the home leg. Yeah.
And then again, it's against Shakhtar Donetsk. We're all talking, Shakhtar did so well last season. They got the Zerbi, blah blah blah, and it's a big 2-0 win.
A big upset.
It was the first outing for the M&M front line of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. But they can only manage a 1-1 draw against Bruges. Jules, I personally don't think they deserved more than that.
I think they probably deserve less, Gab. I thought Bruges were great, the better team by far. I was so excited, as you can imagine, before for that front three, starting the first time together, playing the first time together. And in the end, I think the expected goals combined for the three players is 0 point something crazy.
Yeah,
6 or...
Messi did hit the woodwork.
Yeah.
Goes from a million miles out. That's not going to help you.
At 1-1. And then it looked like more Neymar and Mbappe. It looked more like Neymar and Messi combining. I think he's 6 passes from Neymar to Messi, 5 from Messi to Neymar. And then Mbappe, not much from either of the other two. So, but again, it would not have clicked like this straight away. For example, something that I was told last night, Gab, which I was a bit surprised, is that, you know, sometimes at training where you do like tactical sessions where you put your strongest 11 against the sub, for example, Pochettino has not done that yet. So even at training, they haven't played together apart from those little 5v5 or 3v3 games, but not in a full practice with your starting 11, for example. So it will take a bit of time to click. What for certain is we saw
Pochettino hasn't had any tactical sessions with his players.
Not at 11v11, which I found flabbergasting. But
I love me some Poch, but that strikes me as weird.
But that will come. And again, we saw a very unbalanced team. That's the thing, and that's what worries me the most, because it was too easy for Bruges to create chances, to have 16 shots they had. 16 shots. What's going to happen against City in 2 weeks' time?
When you have 2 guys who don't defend and another guy who gets injured. I know. Speaking of Mbappe, PSG sporting director Leonardo said on French television on Tuesday that he doesn't see Mbappe leaving at the end of the season. Gab, should I be happy with that, or is he fibbing? He's doing his job. I love Leo. He's not just very handsome, he's a very nice man. But what's he going to say? Oh, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he's leaving us. I mean, the club's line, correct me if I'm wrong, has been, oh, we're confident he's going to extend. What's he going to do?
Hopeful.
Say all of a sudden,
hopeful is more than confident. Hopeful.
Hopeful is more than confident?
Yeah, it's more hopeful. They're still hoping that.
So, but they're not. No, I'm sorry, but in English, confident is here. Hopeful is here.
Yeah. That's why I think hopeful.
So they're not at confident yet. No. They're still at hopeful.
Yeah.
All right, just checking. And he also said mean things about Real Madrid, but but hey, that was par for the course.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.